Howdy, howdy, friends and neighbors, fiddle friends, pickin' pals, bluegrass buddies. It's Mike Mitchell here from the Floyd Music School with another Monday music lesson for citizens. It's always a joy to bring these lessons to my friends, my neighbors, my community. I'm super proud of all of you for picking up your fiddles regularly with me, and then hopefully regularly every day, and starting to get into a good habit. Good habits are hard to get into, easy to fall out of. It's just like the treadmill downstairs in my house. I always feel great after I've run on it for 30 minutes, but for some reason, sometimes I have to drag myself to get on the darn thing. So that's just part of life, isn't it? The more we do it, the better we feel, the better we play, the better we sound, the more confident we are. So I'm proud of each and every one of you for joining me in doing this. How's your Angeline the Baker coming? Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. I know that since you've learned Wildwood Flower and Angeline the Baker, you're maybe even starting to mess around with some other fiddle tunes on your own, which is very good. You should be. And you might be thinking about, hey, I might want to come out and jam. But there's part of the jam, the chopping part, right? The fiddler's chop, that might be still a little enigmatic. It might just be escaping you a little bit. Let's deal with that today, and then I'll invite all of you beginner fiddlers to my Wednesday night slow jam for beginner players at my church, Floyd United Methodist, every Wednesday at 7:30 for beginners, a very slow jam so that we can learn to do this all together. Once you have your melody and the ability to chop. So let's just review Angeline the Baker. I'm going to try not to play it too fancy. I am going to use a metronome because we're smart like that, aren't we? Yeah, we want to play in time. 1, 2, ready, and... shuffle. Fantastic, well done. Good for you for playing along with me. And if you've played any of my ornaments with me, then even better for you. If you didn't, if it's not time to play ornaments yet, if you still find yourself kind of struggling to put all the pieces together and looking at your fingers and looking at your bow, that's okay too. You're only hours away. I don't know how many hours or hundreds of hours, but you're only hours away from being able to relax into your playing and start putting in some ornamentations. let me see. I added some shuffles there. Let me just speak to that real quick. When you do practice your scale, because you're smart like that, and you practice your scale, you do put in shuffles. Right? Because that's so important for fiddling. You'd have to. Otherwise, we'd all be sounding very robotic with our playing, and we don't want that. We want a nice, shuffly, smooth fiddle shuffle. Right here, my friends. Right here. Really, really important, the flexible wrist for the shuffle. We're not doing any of this. You know, you guys started with me from the beginning, so you know that we're not doing any of this from the shoulder. We're doing it from the elbow, and we're keeping a flexible wrist for a straight bow stroke and that nice fiddly, shuffly feel. So, in my experience, shuffling can be awfully difficult. And I will say this, if it's coming to you naturally, super. If not, don't try and force it. Don't get it into your head that you have to start shuffling right away. It will happen, I guarantee you. Let it happen naturally. Let it happen organically. Eventually, you'll get bored enough that your arm and your bow will just start shuffling, I promise. So just make sure it happens naturally, okay? And it's the same thing with the chop. We know we have to chop, and chopping is something that if we're going to play with others, we have to. We're not all melody, at least not in bluegrass. When we get into old-time fiddling, then no, we don't have to chop, and we can play the melody for the whole time, which can be very liberating. But if we're in the bluegrass and the country side of fiddling, that's where we are right now, we've got to learn to chop. That's how we back up or support another instrument or singer. All right? Since I can't sprout two more arms and play two instruments at once, I guess I'll have to be the singer. And it's going to go like this. I choose Angeline the Baker because we can play it with two chords. The D chord, which is the D and A strings together. It's going to go, Angeline the Baker lives on the village. And then the G chord, which is the G string and the D string. Green and the way I always love that girl meets all you ever see. There we go. La 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 la. D and D, D, D and D and G. Back to D and D, D and E, D and G and D. Now, I hope you chopped with me. As you move into learning how to chop on your own, I want you to all be very careful that you don't chop on the 1, 3, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but to chop on the 2, 4, 2, 4. If you think about it, think about how the bluegrass band is set up. There's a bass, and it's going boom, 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 boom. We chop in between the bass notes. Boom, chop, boom, chop, boom, chop, boom, chop. Or 1 chop, 1 chop, 3 chop, 1 chop, 3 chop. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Super, super important. I know last week I spoke about one of our local bluegrass legends, leader of the Lonesome River Band, Mr. Sammy Sheeler. He's always had a great way of describing the bluegrass band, that all of the instruments work as separate parts of a drum kit. If you think about a drum, it has the kick drum, and then the snare drum, pop, 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 and then the cymbals, etc., the toms. So the bass is the kick drum, and the fiddle chop, if there's no mandolin chopping or banjo clucking, is the snare drum. Boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick. That's how we provide rhythm for our music and for dancing. Of course, as I always say, Grandma's gotta dance. That's how we provide the rhythm without hiring a drummer. There's even a Lonesome River Band album, a couple of album covers ago, that I noticed Sammy holding a pair of drumsticks on the front cover in the photograph. So yeah, that's a really great way and a simple way for us to think about where our chop belongs. It belongs where the snare drum would hit, not where the kick drum would hit. Not where the boom, but where the chick. So, what we'll do, if you're brave enough to follow me, what we will do is we will play one run of Angeline the Baker, and then we will chop, and I will do my best to sing a verse. The words that I'm singing would have been written by Stephen Foster. Yeah, back in like the late 1800s. Post-Civil War. I don't know what time. If you're interested, please look it up and get back to me and tell me exactly when Stephen Foster published these words. To Angeline the Baker. 1, 2. We'll play it first. 1, 2. You know what to do, and Angeline the Baker, her age is 43. I bought her candy by the pen, but she Angeline, I know. I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. Miss Angeline, the baker. Angeline, I know I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. Excellent. Fantastic. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, Mr. Mike, those open strings are a little boring. And if so, let me show you what we can do with our left hand to take our chop from very beginner level chop to middle beginner or even late beginner, early intermediate level chop. We'll just use one finger on one of the strings. So instead of just A and D, let's go A over D2, otherwise known as F sharp. There we go. And instead of D over G, let's go, for the G chord, let's go A1, otherwise known as B, over the open D string. So we have for the D chord and for the G chord. All right, and I'm going to move my tempo up just a little bit. I think we can all do with playing this a little bit faster. Let's do the same thing, and I'll sing the second verse. 1, 2, ready and. call him Uncle Sam. I never will forget that girl, no matter where I am. She cannot do no hard work because she is not stout. So she bakes the biscuits every day and pours the coffee out. Angeline the baker, Angeline I know. I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. Miss Angeline the baker. Angeline, I know I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. Excellent! Excellent, very good. Now you did notice that a couple of times, instead of just chopping, I went. It's a chop with a lift. A little just extras are always extras. In bluegrass fiddling, always extras. It's a challenge sometimes for me not to play too many extras, but I like to keep it musically interesting. So again, and as always, these are just little things for you to keep in your mind's ear, so to speak. Be like, oh yeah, Mr. Mike did that one cool thing. Or even Mr. Mike does that thing and I don't like how that sounds, so I'm not going to do that. That's, it's all subjective when we talk about ornamentations. Let me show you some lower chops. For the D, we had the F sharp under the A. How about if we do F sharp over A? So D2 high over G1. And then for the G chord, what if we do D3, otherwise known as G, over G2? That might complement, especially if you have a mandolin playing, or a gal singer singing, or a banjo playing way up high and they're playing in this area, sort of kind of in that area of the piano keyboard. If you think about the piano kind of like being a visual of all of the notes that we have available to us, then maybe we want to play down there in another spot on the piano keyboard so that we're not getting in the way of where that singer is singing or where that mandolin is picking. Really, really handy to know different spots on our fiddle to chop chords so that we can be more musically interesting. What we want is music from across the piano keyboard, like different instruments all playing in different spots. That way it sounds good, right? So again, for the D chord, we're going to go F sharp or D2 over G1 or A. And then for the G chord, G or D3 over B or G2. Here we go, my friends, and I'll sing one more verse of Angeline the Baker, and let's even go a little faster, shall we? Yeah, okay. Since you insist. Here we go. 1, 2, you know what to do. Angelina's tall. They say she sprained her ankle while dancing at the ball. The very last time I saw her was at the county fair. Her papa ran me halfway home and told me to stay there. Angeline the baker, Angeline, I know I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. Miss Angeline the baker, Angeline, I know I should have married Angelina 20 years ago. All right, play the melody, my friends. Here we go. Keep going. Keep playing that melody. Fantastic! Once you've got this and you're chopping and playing the melody, I know it's going to be irresistible. You're going to be saying, I need to reach out to Mr. Mike at Floyd Music School at Gmail and ask him about the beginner slow jam every Wednesday night, Floyd United Methodist Church, 7:30. In the wintertime, we're downstairs in the fellowship hall. In the summertime, we're outside under the pavilion. It's a wonderful time for beginners, and please join me when you're ready. Thank you so much.